What's up, everybody? You're here for better or worse, listening to the first episode of the Washed Up Walkons podcast, where Drake, Kevin, and I dip our toes into producing some content. We talk a little bit about the Hawks. We have a really good conversation about our great friend and recent Hawkeye great, Josie Jewell. And Kevin and I finish the podcast by talking about Walmart Guy. Let's have a day. Let's go.
What the fuck are we doing?
I don't know. Welcome into the Washed Up Walk-Ons podcast. My name's Tyler Kluber, and I don't honestly know what we're doing. I got two guys named Kevin and Drake with me, both former Iowa Hawkeyes as well. All of us just graduated from the University of Iowa last year, and essentially we are now washed up. That's what we are. And we were all walk-ons as well, and we can get into that in later podcasts and recordings. But let's start off this first one with kind of introducing how this podcast came about. I have gathered a recent Twitter following that was unexpected, and for some reason, people like what I have to say. Drake is an interesting character as well. I've had multiple people talk about you, Drake, in my tweets.
Yeah, like I have way better content on my Twitter than you do, and it's.
I don't know about that.
No. That shows by the amount of likes and retweets I get on these things. Some of this shit blows up, and yet you have more followers. It's like, what? Yeah. What is this? Like,
I don't know. Yeah, Kevin has no following.
Teenage girls talking about your followers and your likes and shit. Like, are you guys serious right now?
Okay. Well, regardless, this is how it happened. We opened it up and said, hey, who wants us to do a podcast? Several people responded, so we're doing one, and this is what has become of it. Let's preface something. Me, Drake, and Kevin, none of us know what we're doing, all right? Right now, for some reason, you've chosen to listen to us three talk on your car ride or your afternoon at work. I don't know why you turned this on, but we're glad you did, and you're here now, and so we're going to start talking. We're going to start by a couple minutes of what this is and what this isn't, and what it isn't. This is not a media podcast. We are not Hawkeye Heaven. We are not Hawkeye Nation, the Hawkeye Report, whatever other Hawkeye podcasts are out there. This is three guys who, like we said, don't know what we're doing, but we have been on the inside, so we have a decent experience talking. And we have a little bit of I don't know, validity behind what we say, and we have stories that we will inevitably tell, and that's kind of how this is going to go. We're going to talk about tonight the previous game, Wisconsin. We're going to talk about the upcoming game Saturday, Minnesota, maybe a couple individual guys, and we're going to see where this goes. This is an unfiltered thing. If your children are listening, at discretion, like, please.
It's just we may not be the exact three guys that you want your young kids to listen to, because we're very honest and we're pretty unfiltered, and we're gonna give you good content. And I think you guys are really gonna enjoy hearing what we have to say and the stories we tell. But we're not always gonna have the cleanest of language, so just keep that in mind.
Yep. And with that, I guess we jump into it. So 2 weeks ago, the Hawks are coming off a bye week, which is always nice, and maybe we can talk a little bit about that. 2 weeks ago, what?
Love bye weeks.
Oh yeah, bye weeks are good. Bye weeks are. Maybe we should talk about that. Let's start with the bye week.
Start with bye weeks. All right.
Yeah, we can start with the bye week. Bye weeks are really good. I tweeted it. I tweeted out the older guys, they don't have to practice as much. A lot of times they get like one of the practices off while other guys do like a devo. And honestly, it's one of the best weeks of the year. But I also tweeted that I like it later in the year. I don't know how you guys feel about that.
Yeah.
We always had ours later in the year.
I would absolutely agree with that. I was actually talking to somebody today about the bye week, and I kind of brought up the idea that bye weeks decrease maybe the amount of stress and the amount of anxiety that players feel because, you go through a long summer conditioning program and then you go through a tough camp and then you get right into the season. And, the more weeks that you stack on top of each other, the more it feels like almost a never-ending cycle of pain as a player. Mm-hmm. And so it's really nice to be able to step back and just kind of regain your bearings and, get caught up on the things you haven't been caught up on and get a little time to yourself to just get away and recharge. And I really think that the Hawks are going to be – it's going to be a really fun Hawkeye team to watch coming off this bye.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident that they're the feeling I get is that they coming off a loss and like a game like that, I just feel like maybe it's because I'm not a part of it and I want to see them play again, but I feel like they're going to be hungry. Like I feel like
absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. Just to go along with that, like the more mature a team is, the more effective their bye week's going to be, so to say.
Yeah.
You're going to have guys that obviously need the time off because they're every down guys. They've, like Drake says, you've gone through a summer program camp. This is really like their first time to come up for air ever since they reported to camp in August.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's really important for the older guys to get off their feet and relax and recharge, but also get ahead on the preparation for the next game. And then
right.
I ran into Parker Hesse after the Wisconsin game. He was walking out of the stadium, and I felt bad for the guys because they played their hearts out that game, but they really wanted to go into the bye week being 4-0 and being set for the rest of the season. But
right,
I know this team. I got to spend some time with them over the summer. I think they're really going to bounce back strong, and I'm really excited to see them down the second half.
Yeah, I forgot about that. We so for everybody listening, Kevin, we graduated. We did our thing in the spring. We all trained for the NFL. We were 0 for 3 on that mark. Unlike some of our buddies, Josie being one of them, he literally
that's why we're here. That's why we're talking to each other right now. We're bored as shit and we have nothing better to do.
Yeah, Josie literally just called me a minute before we pressed start recording and wanted to play Fortnite, and I literally hung up on Josie Jewell, and I feel like I honestly was a little scared when I did it, but I know that he's like 1,000 miles away, so he can't do anything to me, at least for now.
Josie's so soft. Don't let can we just get that out there? Josie is soft, okay?
Okay.
He's tough on the field, but he's soft.
Wow.
Drake, come on, back me up.
Okay, we are 8 minutes Josie, into podcast 1, and we are calling Josie Jewell the All-American soft. You heard it here first. Kevin Ward. Josie Jewell is soft.
Tell me he's not two different people on and off the field, okay?
Okay, yeah. No, I agree. I don't think, I mean, obviously people don't understand that. Josie is
he's reserved. Let me take this one over for a second.
Okay, yeah.
Drake, the roommate, he's got a good perspective.
I actually made a comment to somebody on social media one day that was kind of, they were talking about the outlaw, and they were shining this light on the outlaw like he is, some mythical character. And I had to laugh because the Josie that we know and love is a Josie that comes home from football and goes up and sits in his room and plays Fortnite and then makes dinner for his wife. So everybody on the outside looking at Iowa football, they know the Josie Jewell on the field, and they're like, that's a bad dude. And
and he is a bad dude.
They're absolutely on the field. Right. Yeah. On the football field, that is a bad dude. But you get him off the football field, you get him into just like a comfortable environment where he doesn't have to be the alpha male. And Josie's just a fun-loving guy like any of us, loves to hunt and fish, loves to play Fortnite. And, he's a whipped husband, That's
wow. This is incredible. I know he's going to listen to this. Bo Bauer.
Yeah, he's going to be pissed.
Also, Bo snapped me today. So this is also for the viewers. We're going to be doing this a lot, kind of giving background information. For those of you listening, us three, along with Ike Butker, Josie, and Bo Bauer, all lived in the same house. So we had a pretty unique situation, and the three of them are most likely going to listen to this. I know Bo is for sure because he asked me if it was out yet so that he could listen to it on his ride home today. And I can't wait for them to text us about it. I'm honestly really excited. But yeah, you guys, you're right. Josie is he's like just the coolest. He's honestly like the coolest dude. Like he comes home. He's not even like the coolest dude. Like some would say that he's even like boring. Like he's a boring guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Boring.
Which I mean,
he just likes doing what he likes to do.
Yeah, I mean he's a simple guy. Simple is a better word. Not boring. Yeah.
But no, I mean from an outsider's perspective, they could say boring because like if you just look at some no-name person, you take the name out of it. If it's just Joe Schmo and he is sitting at his house and playing video
doing what Josie's doing, yeah.
They would say like you're a boring dude. Like go out and live life. But then I mean everybody know that it's Josie Jewell and he happens to be first team All-American and one of the best players in Iowa football history. You realize, okay, you know what? Maybe these guys are just normal guys.
Well, yeah.
We are normal guys. We just played football for a little bit. Some of us better than others.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was a lot better. Part of it is like I think part of our lifestyle away from football was, I mean, I don't think I know our lifestyle away from football was completely dictated by our life in football.
100%.
I mean, you spend 20, 30 hours plus at the complex each week. And when you get home, you don't want to do anything else. Like all you want to do is sit and lay down and chill. Yeah. I mean, I mean, if we weren't playing football for the last 4 years, we would probably be slightly more interesting in our personal life. But that being said, Josie's a cool guy. He's
during the season.
Yeah, Josie is the outlaw on the field, but he's not the outlaw in real life. I mean, I feel like people think like if they were like to hang out with him for like an hour, like he would just be like, I don't know what they think.
Super intense.
Yeah, super intense. Like I don't know. But let's move on from Josie because we're only 12 minutes into the first episode and half of it's already been about him. He's had his glory. All right, it's time for the washed up walk-ons to get theirs. So let's move the conversation along here because I know he'll come back up in our conversation. Let's move on and talk about the Wisconsin game, which happened going on almost 2 weeks now, a week and a half ago. Obviously, they didn't get it done. It was the final score was not indicative of how the game went. There's
not at all.
Fluky touchdown late just because of desperation. Although that last touchdown they scored was tricky.
Yeah, play. Like you said, the score did not indicate how close that game was. I think the Hawks outplayed them pretty much across the board except for one area, and that was turnovers. We turned the ball over 3 times. 4 times if you count the 4th down misconversion, and they didn't turn the ball over at all. And you can't beat disciplined teams like Wisconsin like that. You just can't.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Drake, what were you gonna say?
I don't think that there could ever be an argument that on offense and defense we outplayed that team because of the horrible predicaments that we unfortunately put ourselves in, or the team put themselves in. I shouldn't include us because we're no longer part of the team, but that the team put themselves in with special teams. And I know that that's something that this program truly prides themselves on, is being very fundamentally sound and smart and disciplined on special teams.
Yeah.
So I know that's something that was really eating the guys up, that they unfortunately lost the game in a spot where they expect to help themselves win.
I mean, Coach Ferentz always, I mean, it was, I don't know how many times he would say it a week, probably. I mean, you have your weekly meetings and you have your, your Monday, or I guess your Tuesday meeting, your Monday meeting. They're all the same each week. They're just focused on, the new team. But every meeting, every week, when it came down to how are we going to win this game, what are Coach Ferentz always gave us our 3 keys. I mean, almost almost every game.
We got to win on special teams.
Yeah, you got to win on special teams, and you got to win.
We got to win on special teams. We got to make that an edge. So,
you got to.
That.
Yeah, and one of them, that as well as he would always. And another thing we would always get is Coach Ferentz would always hand out these. I don't know. He would find random stuff to hand out to us in team meetings, right? And some of it was like, I don't know, inspirational stuff or like current event stuff, but a lot of times it was statistical stuff. And like I remember one time he handed us like an analysis of like the 2015 season or something like that, like a year or two ago, and it was like it had turnover margin on there, and like the statistical probability of a team winning or just like the results of if you won the turnover battle, you won the game, and it was like almost directly correlative. It was like a 76% or 86% or something like that.
Yeah.
And I just remember thinking like, wow, that's like it's almost like a direct turnover battle. And there was another stat on there like if we ran the ball.
The three stats he really paid attention to most. He really didn't care about many others, like, but the three ones that he thought were most telling was turnovers, how many rushing yards you had, and how many rushing yards you gave up. If you can run the ball, stop the run, and not turn the ball over and win the turnover battle, you're going to win at least 95% of your games.
Right. Yeah. And so, like,
actually,
go Drake.
On adding to that, when Coach Davis was the offensive coordinator, before Brian took over, he had a list or a graph of things called his WIT chart. That means whatever it takes. And the three things that he was most focused on was turnovers, big plays, and I forget what the third one was, but turnovers and big plays were two of the main ones. And he said that in his career, if he won the turnover, or if his team won the turnover battle and won the big, had more big plays than the other team, he was like either undefeated or, may have been beaten once or twice. But
like a crazy stat.
All of them. Yeah, if they had less big plays than the other team and more turnovers, he had never won a game. So that just shows really how important those two things are.
Yeah, which is why when I was watching the game, I had to watch it on TV. I was up watching my buddy from high school play Division II. We watched it at his house that night, and I kept saying to him, I was like, it's honestly amazing that we're in this game because of the turnover battle. Like it. And I think that speaks to just how well they actually played on offense and defense. Like, we hurt ourselves that much. What was it, 4-0 or something like that?
It was 3 actual, 4-0. And then we missed a fourth down conversion.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So 3-0, I mean, like, we're talking like even if it's 2-1 or 3-2, like a 1 differential, and it was a 3 turnover differential, and we were still that close in the game.
Yeah, like
I was
all of them were like crucial turnovers. Like, had the punt return where we would have had the ball like on their 45-yard line going in.
Yep.
Then the one that hits Spire in the leg, they get it on the 10-yard line, score 3 plays later.
Mm-hmm.
And then what was the last one? The interception on the last drive, I think, right?
Yeah, one of them was cheap. I mean,
it was that one was a little fluky too. But yeah, I mean, it was tough. I think someone tweeted me and was like, honest opinion, who's the better team, Iowa or Wisconsin? After the game, they tweeted that. And I was like, I honestly think that it's pretty clear that Iowa was like unbiased. Like, or I mean, it is biased, but like, that's my.
No, I'm with you. If they play that game 5 times this year, I think the Hawks win at least 3, maybe 4.
Yeah, I don't know. Another part of this is kind of when we break stuff down is I'm glad that we got Drake. He's from the offense. We got Kevin. He's from defense. And we got me, who is, there's not a lot to break down on special teams, but we kind of bring we bring all 3 aspects to the table. So we have there's credibility behind this. And I forgot to mention that, but that's also something that's to think about. That's kind of cool. But yeah, I was like, I mean, the environment, you were there, right? You both were there?
I was there. Yeah, Drake was there.
We were both there.
Yeah, the environment looked like that's the kind of stuff that like I really miss.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
I don't miss everything about football, but like that stuff right there, like night game in Kinnick, like
That stuff
obviously,
sticks with you.
yeah, dude. Like
You
I
know, like
was.
Go ahead.
when
Go for
when
it.
TJ pulled down those 2 long catches, especially the second one. Like the first one, the place was electric, but the second one, when he caught that second deep ball down the middle, like I thought the stadium was coming down. Like that's one of the loudest I've heard that place, because it was just like such a monumental play, and like it was one of those deals where everybody in the building when that happened was like, we're gonna win this game.
Yeah, it was. It's like and it's a weird feeling. Like not. I mean, it's a little different for me because I've told you guys both this before. Like I was a little, as a specialist, you're disconnected from the game anyway because you're so focused on just like, okay, I'll get my rep in another 15 minutes. I go out, I do my rep. That's all I care about. My only focus right now, and you have to flush everything else. Like, is there an interception or did we score? Like you can't be a fan. And like it's hard because you sit for so long, you're almost like a fan that's just standing on the sideline because you're not engaged. Like you don't have to know it's weird. So like even more so now as a true fan, it's such a weird feeling being a part of it, but not having any control or say in it.
It sucks.
It's probably the worst part, I think.
Yeah, I'm with you there, man. It's just weird being on the outside now. You know, we've spent the last 5 years in the program.
5 years, yeah.
You know, seeing that first swarm that you're not a part of since 2013.
Yeah.
Yeah, that kind of.
I cried.
I didn't cry. You know what got me to shed a quick tear was the Niall Kinnick speech. I always love the Niall Kinnick speech right before every game.
Yeah, so
that's what got me a little bit.
I actually cried during the not like I was bawling, but I was there. My brother was on the recruiting trip. For those of you who don't know, my brother's a long snapper. He's going to be in the program starting in January. Not the point. We were there on the recruiting trip, so I was in the stadium, and the recruit section is right over the tunnel now. And I'm getting goosebumps. I get goosebumps every time I talk about this. But that door opens up and you see Coach walk out. Yeah, dude. The camera flips on and you see Coach walk out, and the guys start coming down the. And I wanted to tweet about this because I couldn't. It was too long, and I couldn't find a way to put it together that people would really feel it. But maybe people who listen to this will get a better understanding because I can talk about it. It was almost like a moment of like. Because I mean, obviously, the guys leading the swarm we were with for 4 years because a lot of those guys redshirted, so they were there for our first 4 year or our last 4 years. And it was Gervais and Parker and Ross Reynolds and Keegan and all them, and it was almost like it's your guys' turn, like go take it. It was like this weird like connection that I had like watching it. And it was like inside of me, it was just kind of like me trying to tell them through like psycho or like telepathy, like you guys got it. It's your team. It's your turn. Go take it. Like it was weird. It was just a weird moment. And I teared up and my fiance was there with me and she looked over and like, she like started tearing up and I was like, oh God, I did not want to do this, but this is super emotional and I did not expect it.
I had like a completely different feeling than that. Like when I saw it happening, I was extremely frustrated because it was something that I wanted to do so badly.
What a surprise.
And I knew that there was like 0% chance that, that we would ever be able to do that again. So it was just one of those super frustrating deals.
I think what I felt was what Coach Brian Ferentz always talked about. Every year in camp, Coach Brian would always teach the swarm. I mean, there's literally a 15-minute period in a practice during camp where you learn the swarm and the pregame routine. And he would always talk about to the young guys, like how he played and how when you swarm, you are connected to every other Hawkeye that's ever swarmed before you. And every other Hawkeye out there feels it and feels like they're a part of it. And I mean, it was like 150% that just came rushing back to me when the first swarm happened, and it's every swarm since then. But it was pretty nuts.
I hate being washed up, guys. This sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does suck.
Anyway, let's turn into a pity party about us. Yeah, so we talked about Wisconsin a little bit. Closing that up, obviously, I mean, they're a great team. They always are. They've had our number, you know, other than 15. They've had our number. They're the most like us in the way they play. They're tough as hell. I mean, they're giant on the O-line. If anything, the similarity between Iowa and Wisconsin is so similar, and maybe the most in the fact that Iowa is who they are, and they're not going to change. They're the same team. They are what they are. Wisconsin, same thing, essentially, is they are who they are, and that's what you're going to get. And they're very good at being who they are. And that's why it's always a great clash.
Yeah.
But anyway,
forward to the Wisconsin game. I think everyone really respected their program, and you always knew it was going to be a fist fight, and that was always fun.
Yeah, it's always such a fun game. I tweeted about this too. It's my favorite game ever is the Wisconsin game 2015. Like, that's my favorite memory. When Nate Meyer pushed back the guard and he stepped on Stavi's foot, and Stavi turned to hand it off, and he fumbled it, and Faith jumped on the ball. I don't know if I've ever been so happy in my life. Like, it was, it was crazy. Like, for some reason, it's just, I don't know if it's just because because they have had our number, or we hadn't won the bowl in a while. I don't know. It's just my favorite game. But moving on, this week we're past the bye week now. Got a well-rested Iowa Hawkeye football team, and we're playing another well-rested team who is coming off a bye week, Minnesota, playing for the Floyd of Rosedale, which happens to be Kevin Ward's favorite trophy.
Dude, I don't know how you can even argue that. It's the oldest trophy.
I'm not.
It's 100 pounds, man. It's awesome.
It is heavy. It's heavy.
And the fact that they used to play for a real pig is pretty badass.
Yeah, like, it's got the best story behind it by far, too. I don't know how you, like, just sheer trophy. Forget, like, the game and, like, all that stuff behind it. I know you like the bowl, but, like.
Okay. All right. I'll give it to you there then if we're just talking about the actual hardware and not what comes with it and behind it. Yeah, the pig's the best trophy.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think there's even a close second.
But as far as rivalry game, I like Wisconsin. But anyway, so Minnesota, they are 3-1. They have the same record. For some reason, PJ Fleck's press conferences always pop up on my YouTube, so I've watched like a lot of them this year. And I don't know. He a lot of people find him very interesting as a coach. I kind of like him. I don't know.
I think he's annoying as hell. I know.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure he's a good guy and everything. Like, I don't have any real reason to, like, not like him, but he just seems so fake. Talking about,
I know.
Yeah, elite program, elite. Like, dude, shut up. I don't know how your players fucking put up with you.
Yeah, I
there it
kind
is.
of agree. He's
like
really
we said, it's going to pop out every now and then, but that's how I feel. Like, I don't know if I could go through 4 or 5 years in that program with this guy and his fake energy. Like, that's what it is to me. It's fake energy.
I think
But
I don't know.
Two things I like about PJ Fleck a lot. One is he was a huge advocate for the wave, which I think is really cool. It's one of the coolest traditions, there's ever been, much less in the country right now. And he's also very complimentary of our head coach, who all three of us obviously have a great deal of respect for. So
Right.
I can respect Coach Fleck in the fact that he, has a heart and that he thinks that the wave is really cool and he's an advocate for that.
Yeah,
and also that he's respectful of our head coach, who, like I said, is a man that's very deserving of your respect.
Like I said, right. I'm sure he's a good guy and everything. Like, I have nothing against him personally. I just honestly think he's incredibly annoying, and
I understand where you're coming from too, and I think in my case, I just, for some reason in me, like, my natural what I see him do and what you see him do, for some reason in me it just resonates as that's just who he is, and I actually believe his energy. And you don't, and who knows? Maybe it's fake, maybe it's not. I mean, it's definitely always the same when he's in the public, like when he's in a press conference or an interview. So I don't know. For me, it just seems more real, and I just think people are the people who are like off-putting, or why it is off-putting to some people, is because not a lot of coaches are like him. He's younger, he's energetic, he's a little
Over the
left
top.
or right of center. Yeah, he's over the top. I don't know. I think he's just a modern new age coach, and he's just a little overboard with it, and that's why it comes off as maybe fake. But regardless,
that could be a good way to put it, because we're not used to a modern new age coach. You know, we come from the University of Iowa, and they've done things the same way for a long time over there.
Right.
And Coach Ferentz isn't a BS guy, and so
Right.
maybe it's just the culture that we grew up in versus the culture that may be coming in the modern era of football.
Yeah, I don't know. Regardless, they're 3-1. They played a few no names, I think, and then maybe a decent team, and then they lost to Maryland the last time out. I don't even know what the score was that game, but I think they got beat pretty bad.
It wasn't
right?
that close, no.
Yeah, I think they got beat pretty bad.
Right
I know that he said, because in the press conference I watched, he did have a lot of respect for Coach Ferentz. I mean, he said multiple times he was like, yeah, he's one of the best coaches in the country. He knows what he's doing, yada, yada. It is nice to see that he respects him. And he also said multiple times that when he was answering questions, they have 33 freshmen in their 2 deep. 33.
Wow.
Yeah. They're the third youngest or most inexperienced team in the country. 30 that number is just insane. 33 freshmen in their 2 deep. They start like 8. They start 8 true freshmen or something like that.
Yikes.
That should be a huge edge for us then.
Yeah. I think no question this is a game where Iowa should not go in and lose this game. That being said, that's also something that like a lot of media people would say, and like with Iowa, there's no way Iowa should lose this game. They are the better team. The caveat is anybody can win on any day, and it's so incredibly hard to win a football game in the Big Ten. I mean, I just look back at Purdue last year, and it was the same as this game, essentially. Like, there's no, especially after we beat Ohio State, there's no way Iowa should lose this game. We found a way to lose that game somehow, some way. So, us 3 and everybody that we played with over our 5 years know it's not just as easy as, the Hawks 100% should win this game. That being said, I think they will.
And that being said, hammer the Hawks on the
hammer the Hawks. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they opened up like 3-point favorites. I think it's up to 7.
Yeah, they opened up at like 3.5 or something like
and
that.
Now probably I don't know what it is now, but I would bet it heavy.
Yeah.
And that's I'm glad you brought that up, Drake, because I think we're going to add this in to the weekly podcast from now on. Is maybe we'll throw out like 10 teams and the lines for their games, and then we can talk about what we think on the betting.
10 might be excessive.
Maybe 5 teams.
I got the Big Ten spreads right here if you want them.
Nah, I don't want to talk about them tonight, but maybe going forward. But yeah, I think this is 33 freshmen in the 2 deep, 8 starting. This is the kind of team that
their quarterback's a true freshman too, right?
I have no idea, but this is
I believe so. Yes,
this game just speaks to me as like one of those teams where early they got all. With young guys comes a lot of energy. It's very similar to Coach Fleck as a coach. With young guys, sometimes you can pop off. Energy is crazy. Sometimes it's fabricated, and that's just because what they think they should be doing energy wise. But occasionally, some fake energy creates a big play, and now they create real energy. And a team like that, young team, can roll with it. But I just think that I just don't think they have it. Like, this is the kind of team where the Coach Doyle effect, which I also tweeted about, it comes in hard. Like it's gonna hit Minnesota hard.
Yeah, I'm kind of like with you there. If you let a team that's juiced up hang around and make a big play, it makes it that much harder to win. Like momentum is a real thing in a football game, and it's hard to overcome.
Yeah, extremely.
But if the Hawks get off to a fast start, they don't give up any big plays, and they go ahead and establish the run game early. I don't think there's any reason that the Gophers should be on the field with them in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, that's how I feel. I actually think that Minnesota will score early. Like for some reason, my gut just says that they'll score early, and it's just like one of those things. Like, oh wait, like maybe, and people are gonna question it, but it's just like it's the bend don't break system, and it rarely fails. Rarely.
Well, yeah, I mean this is a game that the Gophers they get up for. Obviously, they got their "Who Hates Iowa" chant, which is annoying as hell.
Yeah, it's just like Iowa State. I actually think Wisconsin probably takes it as close to they prepare for it as close to we do it for trophy games as any of our 4 trophy games probably. I would say Wisconsin probably doesn't make a huge deal out of it. They just know the what's behind it. I feel like Minnesota and Iowa State, and I'm sure we can get into this all day, but I don't really want to. Those two teams. No, those two teams for sure. They bring extra juice, prepared differently. I mean, it's just like, and I feel like that sometimes that helps, for a quarter, but then stuff starts to get sticky.
Then you get punched in the mouth, and then you're all quiet. But yeah.
So I don't. Again, this is like the kind of part. This is the part where like a normal podcast or like media would be like, all right, so Kevin, what are you predicting? What's your score prediction? I don't really want to.
Yeah, score prediction.
I'm not. I don't
like. You don't know.
I don't like
going to go exactly.
I don't like. Yeah, I don't like predictions. Other than I'll predict the Hawks to win and Minnesota will score early, but I don't think it's going to be close. I think the Hawks will cover, and I think the Hawks.
I mean, it's just one of those. It's one of those situations. Like good teams win, great teams cover. I think this is an Iowa. Could definitely approach the great team status by the end of the year. It's just kind of what they've showed so far. Good teams win, great teams cover. Hawks by 1 million or so.
Yeah, a couple million. And I'm glad you bring that up as far as them moving forward. So assume they go 4-1 after this weekend. I think with what they showed against Wisconsin and just kind of what we know, it's hard to describe. The feeling. I mean, with 5 years of experience, us 3 know, but this team, they have the ability to play with anyone. They do. They just do.
Absolutely.
The defense is surprisingly good. I think, at least for me, with 3 young linebackers. And honestly, they're having.
I don't think that's surprising at all.
I don't think it's surprising at all either. This is the defense I was expecting.
Yeah, I mean, everyone knew that the D line was going to be dominant, and they have been.
They're really good. They're really good.
Bringing back some,
and I love watching it.
The back end safeties and a couple, and Amani Hooker is obviously extremely talented, and I think
he's an NFL safety.
Yeah, absolutely. We have some.
I think you have
corners, and then linebacker situation that everyone was afraid about. I honestly felt pretty confident leaving that room. With myself, Ben, Josie, and Bo, I really felt like those guys were ready to take the reins when we left last year. They learned a lot from the older guys. I know Nick learned a ton from Ben.
For sure.
And athletically, like I said, I spent the summer with them working out and stuff. They were just as good as athletes as the guys who left. Just as good.
Oh, yeah,
some if not better.
Absolutely.
No, I agree with that. I just didn't know, you can be, and better than I, so I'm glad. That's good to hear you say that. I, being a little further away from the linebacker room, I wasn't in it all the time. I was nervous, but what do I know?
Yeah, no, I knew
but just because of lack of experience,
have them ready to go, and and
for sure,
yeah. And Coach Parker obviously had all the faith in the world in them, and I'm not really surprised at all by the way they've been playing. I think they've been playing pretty well.
Yeah, no, they've been playing great, and they've even had to rotate guys in and out. Amani started, then Jack came in. Now Nick's hurt, and Barrington's playing. I mean, they've got like it's like they're almost deep. It's kind of interesting.
I was surprised by Jaimin making the. I thought he played
right.
Yeah, I did not think he was that far along, but he played very well for the time that he got.
Jaimin impressed the hell out of me.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
he made tremendous strides over the past year.
Yeah, it's good to see because I mean, like you said, the D line is incredibly dominant. I mean, they are. I mean, there might be. You'd have to just go one by one and talk about them, but I mean, like on our defense right now, half of them are going to be in the NFL probably. Like between Amani and Anthony Nelson and AJ and a couple, like I think once. I mean, who knows where the linebackers are going to go? OJ, I think his potential is an NFL corner if he wants it to be. His athleticism is crazy. I guess maybe not surprising. I was more so the linebacking core, and it's just because of the inexperience, but pleasantly surprised so far. And like I said, I think they can play with anybody. The one game left on the schedule that, again, most like people would be like, oh, it's Penn State. Like that's the one tough game, but I know they can play with Penn State. The only problem there is it's at Penn State. We didn't do so well there last time.
And Penn State is an extremely hungry team now because, they've over the past couple of years, they've kind of established themselves as a Big Ten title contender, and obviously deservingly so. They've having won one. But like now that's their goal every year is the Big Ten championship. And so they know they have to be perfect for the rest of the year to even have a shot. So I really think that Penn State team is going to be hungry.
Yeah.
With that being said, I know the Hawks are going to be hungry because of the last time, what happened to us the last time we went in.
Yeah,
for sure.
Losing them the last play of the game, that was awful.
That hurt bad.
I don't know how y'all feel about him, but I can't stand Trace ever since that game.
I don't like him either.
They came into Kinnick as like 23-point favorites, win on the last play of the game, and then I can't even. Oh man, he has the audacity to punt the ball into the freaking stands. Like, are you kidding me, dude? Like,
I think he kind of. I don't know. I feel like he's probably like a cool dude, but like he was a huge douchebag that night.
Douchebag.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I love so much.
Trace, you're not listening to this podcast, but shout out. Maybe you're a good guy. Who knows?
I don't care. Let's throw hands.
Wow. Anyway,
to lose, he does.
It's true. He's really good at quarterback, though. You can't deny that.
Oh, I'm not denying that. I'm just saying he's a douchebag.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Now that being said, Penn State, people are going to look at that as like the other hard game on the schedule. People like, I don't know, what comes to mind is like the national media, like Colin Cowherd or ESPN or somebody like, oh, if they can get past Penn State, they should be able to win the rest of their games. That doesn't mean that the rest of the games are easy by any shot, but every game on the schedule is winnable, and that can't always be said. I know like a lot of coaches will say that with confidence, but I don't think every year that can always be said with like 100% confidence, but I honestly this year I feel like they could win any game.
I don't think I've ever gone into the game thinking that we can't win this game. I think the way that we prepare, we always have a chance, and we've obviously gotten
our play style gives us a chance.
Yeah, we've obviously gotten blown out in a few games over our careers, and I think that really just came from getting off to a bad start, and then like I said from earlier, like momentum is a hard thing to come over. But right. I've never looked at a schedule or gone into a game thinking, oh boy, we're in trouble with this game. Like we really need to step up for this game. Like, no, I think, like you said, there's not a game on the schedule that we can't win. And honestly, looking at it, I think we have a better than good chance to win each game.
Yep.
And being a competitor, you never think that somebody can just beat you like that. Like, you know, if you're a competitive person and you have any fire inside of yourself, you're going to go out there and try and prove that, no, they're not going to beat us. We're the better team, and we're here to prove it, you know?
Yeah, and that's why stuff like you know, the Michigan game in 16 or last year the Ohio State game happened, because guys like us who were a part of it and the guys inside the building right now, that's all their mindset. And it doesn't matter if every Iowa fan on earth doesn't think they can win the game, as long as the 70 guys on the travel squad and all the coaches do, that's all that matters. And clearly that shows up in several games of recent history.
You want to tell the people about the Walmart guy?
I was going to tell people about the Walmart guy.
Funny story. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, okay. This is actually a good place to leave it off, because I think we're 45 minutes in almost, and we're getting to a good spot. So we'll finish episode 1 of the Washed Up Walkons podcast with a story from Tyler and Kevin. So Drake was not involved in this. I don't even know if he's heard the story.
Never heard the story. I'm looking forward to it.
All right. So this is post Penn State in 16.
Yeah.
So we just got our asses beat. Yeah, we just got beat bad on the road, big time environment, night game, Happy Valley, whiteout. It was bad.
I think it was on like ABC or something.
Yeah.
You know, it was a big time channel.
Yeah.
Too.
It hurt.
Then the flight gets delayed on the way back. We don't get back to Iowa City till like 1:30 in the morning. It was just a shitty day.
Yep. It was a bad day. And it hurt 10 times more than it looked like it hurt. Like it was that bad. Anyway, so I don't know, what day of the week was it, Kev? Saturday, the game, Sunday. I don't.
No idea.
What were we doing? What were we doing?
We were buying some video game. I'm not sure which.
Yes. Okay. So that week,
the new Call of Duty.
Yeah. So the new Call of Duty, which honestly the game was trash. I'm pretty sure.
Which one was it?
It was trash.
Unless it was the modern
World War II.
Yeah, I'm pretty. No.
No. Yeah, it was Modern Warfare
It was Modern Warfare
Modern
Remastered.
Warfare Remastered.
So the only reason I was buying it was because Call of Duty 4 was coming back. I didn't care about the Advanced Warfare, whatever. People don't care about that part. We were at Walmart buying a video game. And so we go over. I don't know why Kevin came with me. He was thinking about getting it too, whatever. We go over. We're in the video game section. We're just browsing around. I love Walmart, so I try to spend as much time as I can in there. And that's true. I have a real affinity towards Walmart. You know, we're browsing around, looking at other video games, and some guy, one of the workers there, he comes up to us. He's actually in a wheelchair. He rolled up to us. And well, he did. He was in a wheelchair and he rolled up to us, and we were wearing Hawkeye gear. I'm pretty sure is how the conversation started, because during the season, especially late in the season when it starts to get cold, about the only piece of clothing in a Hawkeye football player's wardrobe is a Hawkeye's football sweatshirt and gray Hawkeye football sweatpants.
Pretty much, yeah.
So we're standing there, and he rolls up and he starts a conversation. I think it honestly started out with, "Boy, the Hawks got smacked last week, didn't they?"
Like, I'm not even sure if like he knew we were players or anything, but like
he didn't know we were players. And so, you know, nicely, me and Kevin responded, "Yeah, it was a tough one." I don't know what we said. It was something like that. Trying to be nice and not. We weren't going to be like, "Hey, we're players." Like, that doesn't happen. If someone says something about Hawkeyes, like, at least in my instance, and when we were ever with people, we were never initially bring up that we were on the team. Like, we just let it go.
No.
And it never came out during this whole conversation that we were on the team. But anyway, the guy's like, "Yeah, they got smacked this week. They got Michigan coming up. Gonna need a prayer." Or what do you say?
I think
he goes,
"Oh boy, the Hawks are gonna need a prayer this weekend, huh?"
Yeah, Hawks are gonna need a prayer this weekend, huh? And
I think we just like turn and look at each other like,
tell you guys,
dude, screw this guy. Like,
yes.
I can already tell you guys, like, it's a good thing I wasn't there, because I would have gotten really belligerent.
Yeah. So I don't. Okay. So anyway, the guy. I mean, I was like, yeah, we kind of laughed it off. Obviously, me and Kevin aren't gonna fight this 50-year-old guy in a wheelchair in Walmart telling us that we're gonna need a prayer for the next week's game. Granted, at that point, he had a little something that he was going on because it didn't look good. So we play the game and we win. Hell of a game. People rush the field, Keith Duncan, walk-off field goal. And in the locker room afterwards, all I could think about was Walmart guy.
Wait, were you actually thinking about Walmart guy after the locker room?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, because I came up to you, and I don't know if you remember this, Kevin, but I came up to you and was like, we got to go find Walmart guy and ask him about us needing a prayer this weekend because we just won.
No, I actually don't remember that.
I came up to you and was literally thinking about it the whole time. And that guy now lives in legend as Walmart guy. And honestly, it's a nice little story.
No, I think the best part about that night is Coach Ferris extended the downtown curfew by an hour. Whole bar went wild.
I didn't go out. Didn't go out that night. Shocker.
Yeah. You remember that?
Oh, Drake remembers that night.
I actually don't think Drake remembers that night.
I'm yeah, I remember bits and pieces that night. Sorry, I'm over here cooking soup. You guys were telling a story. I wasn't part of the story. I wanted some soup, so I was making some soup.
Okay. Well,
yes, I do remember that night. The curfew extension was really prime. That was awesome.
Really prime.
Shout out to him because we did have ourselves a jolly good time.
Yes, we did.
It was a good time. With that, we're at about 51 minutes going on. We shot the shit. That's episode 1. Who knows if you guys listening feel like you just wasted an hour of your life, or if you'll tune in for episode 2. We're glad you're here. And honestly, right now it might be 10 people, but hopefully this thing can grow a little bit. It'll be like this, similar to this each week. Hopefully we can produce some good content each week, and I think for now we're going to plan on doing this every week until the season is up, and then after that, depending on how well it's going, we'll see if it continues. But we're glad that you joined us on the Washed Up Walkons podcast. Tune in next week for episode 2, where we'll recap the Minnesota game and preview the following week, and hopefully tell you guys a couple more good stories. With that, we hope you have a good one. See you next time.
Over and out.